Welcome to another exhilarating episode of Comic Book Straight Talk, brought to you from the secret basement inside one of America's oldest comic shops, Tulsa's own The Comic Empire. Now, true believers, open up your ear holes and get ready to have your head filled with the best comic book knowledge this galaxy can handle. That's right, it's time for another nerd overload with Comic Book Straight Talk.
Welcome back to Comic Book Straight Talk. This is Dalian.
Terry.
Kenny.
And we are in the Hall of Doom located in the Okefenokee Swamp. Put on our Facebook page about taking some of your questions and kind of giving you the answers for them. First one up comes from Jimmy. And it asks, what's the best multi-issue Avengers story? Now, you and Kenny, or you and Jimmy had talked a little bit about this. So what for you, what's the best Avengers story?
The Kree Skrull War.
Kree Skrull War, okay.
But Jimmy he mentioned good ones.
He did, that's true.
The Korvac Saga, the Celestial Madonna.
Yeah, see, the three he mentioned, like I said, the Korvac, Celestial Madonna, and the Defenders War. Those are really the three ones that I think about.
And Disassembled.
And Disassembled, yes. Also, though, a lot of the multi-issue story arcs, and was mentioned also by another reader or listener, was all the great Masters of Evil battles. Yes. Avengers Forever was a fun... It was a mini-series that kind of tied all the Avengers history together and everything. I thought that was really good. What about you, Terry?
I'm trying to think of what numbers those were. An Avengers title with the... It wasn't really early... Maybe it was New Avengers. I can't even remember now. But it was I think it was a George Perez run in it. It was an Ultron storyline. Cannot remember what issues those were.
Skip.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah.
All right. Moving on then, since Terry couldn't think about that.
I don't remember exactly what issues they were. It was an Ultron storyline. It was really good.
The Ultron storyline was really good.
Yeah,
there are bad Ultron storylines, right?
There can be. Yeah.
There can be. Okay. Killer robots, never fun. I actually had another question from Jason. He wanted, and we kind of talked before the show, really, who cares? But Liefeld stopped doing CGC, authenticated witness stuff, and he's just doing CBCS now. I don't know the story about what happened. I know something did happen, but they're not saying exactly. It could just be that he doesn't like CGC anymore. But yeah, we'll definitely come back to that one later when we find out more. So.
Oh wait, let's go back.
Oh wait! Terry's found out something.
It was the Evil Reborn.
I don't remember that one. Go ahead. Would you like to?
Like that.
Oh, okay, so it's from the second series that Kurt Busiek and George Perez did.
19, yes.
And ran like 19 to what? 20, 30, 40?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I do remember that story.
Great storyline.
I remember the cover, like you just showed, was black and it has the Ultron eyes and the mouth in red. Yeah.
Yes.
So, Terry, how do you feel about Liefeld?
How do you feel about Liefeld doing exclusive? Have you heard anything else about that?
Leaving CBCS?
No, leaving CGC, only
Leaving
doing
CBC.
CBC or CBCS only for his signatures and stuff. I mean, have you heard him why or?
Doesn't bother me or hurt me. I mean, you're probably not going to pay for his signature anyway.
Well, that was my reaction. Who cares?
Right. Yeah, I know.
Who
So
cares?
yeah, I know. But
He wants. I mean, he charges fairly high price for a signature on, especially if it's a Deadpool signature.
yeah, any Deadpools or there's like 3 issues of New Mutants.
I thought he'd sign anything for free except Deadpool or except New Mutants 98.
New Mutants 98 and what 83,
87.
87,
87.
Yeah. And
I think it's probably
And Deadpool.
changed from time to time. Last I thought he would charge X amount for whatever signature, but it came to Deadpool, then you're going to get charged a premium for it. It's his prerogatives, but
Yeah.
it doesn't really bother me that he changed from
we
CGC
had-
to CBS or.
Why is he? I mean, never mind.
Doesn't
Well,
matter.
we had Starlin do the same thing about a year ago.
Yeah.
Or
Well-
6 months ago, but that was
That was a whole thing.
Right.
With it was poor communication that led to the problem.
Yeah,
but
something. I can't remember exactly what it was. Someone was stolen from him or something, and
he
was
wanted
trying to get some help from them, and they wouldn't help him.
Yeah,
So
and maybe that's why. Maybe
That may be.
Liefeld is taking Starlin's side on the argument.
Maybe.
Or something. Who
so,
knows?
so how do you feel about it, Dow?
I think I just said that it doesn't bother me, but
Are you sure?
we'll return to that when we find out the story, if later time probably.
You look a bit right.
I'm not going to lose sleep. 'Cause
So-
like I said, I'm not going to pay $50 for the guy to sign my New Mutants 98 or more. I'm sorry.
So,
No.
do you think the reason he's charging so more is because people get him to sign it and then they sell it?
Probably.
Yeah, it's like most of the artists.
Well, what does he care? He's already been paid for the issue, and if you're paying for his signature, what does he care what you do with it? That's like the whole Adam Hughes bumping his price up for commissions every time someone sells something on eBay.
Which we
Well,
discussed.
that's what we
last
discussed
week,
on the
last
other
time.
pod.
Yeah.
What it basically does is it hurts the guy who really loves his stuff
Yeah.
and is going to put that in his his long box when he gets back home.
You know what? I figured it
Or
out
on
why.
the wall or something.
I figured it out why.
Why what?
CBCS is not as popular. They're popular, but they're not as popular as CGC. So by taking out CGC and just doing CBCS stuff, he has more time to learn how to draw feet.
Man, that argument is totally bizarre and makes no sense whatsoever.
As does most of the things you say,
What's
sir.
what's the line from, what was it, Billy Madison or whatever? Everything that just came out of your mouth is,
Utter garbage or something?
Yeah.
yeah. Everyone's insanely stupider for having listened to it.
That's true. Well, our entire audience is just
Well.
lost in brain matter.
Well, he can't draw feet anyway, so
That's not true.
he can't draw left feet.
That's not true.
Okay.
He can draw feet if he wants to draw feet. It's not
We
his
were
style.
asked to predict a path that
You should
brings.
probably do that one last.
Yeah, well, yeah. Stephen, another listener of ours, wants to know why all the Marvel unnecessary Marvel reboots.
I will tell you why. Because
Can you
the
tell it?
Cells,
I can tell you that in 2 notes.
2 notes, yeah. Because their sales are so poor, because their books are so bad, that the only way for them to make money
Keep selling number ones.
is to keep selling number one. So they reboot and they do company-wide crossover events.
There was actually an article written by the guy that owns Rodman Comics, and I posted it up on Bleeding Cool, so take it with a grain of salt. But talking about that exact same thing, and that the last couple
Comic
months.
Book Straight Talk does not share these views since it was seen on Bleeding Cool.
There you go.
I don't think we even shared the views of Doubt earlier.
Yeah. Thanks. But talking about that Marvel in the last couple months, Avengers has sold real well. They've had good sales with Avengers and Spider-Man. Those 2 books, started turning the corner. They weren't selling, all the different Avengers series and everything, putting it into one book and having it be weekly. But still, they were moving towards better sales. And then all of a sudden they announced this, and now people don't care. So, doesn't care what happens in Amazing Spider-Man because it's going to be rebooted. Doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Well, it was
part of it.
So-
Amazing Spider-Man was going to change anyway because they're
Well,
pulling
yes.
Slott off of it.
Yes.
So,
And have you heard who they're putting on it?
yes.
Yes.
Now, are we going to see Spider-Man become a Nazi?
Probably.
Because Nick Spencer's writing it.
There's going to be a Nazi somewhere.
There's going to be a Nazi. We're not saying he's a Nazi, or that there's going to be Nazis, but there'll be Nazis. But yes, I think it's kind of stupid. We just got the legacy numbering, and now we're going to reboot. So
But they're
it's-
going to put both numbers
they
on
are
it.
going to put both numbers on it. Yes. But
Which will
it's
either
really confuse new people.
really probably the older people that have been doing it, they'll be able to figure it out and realize that the new people are coming in like they'll have no clue what are all these numbers on here.
What's a 781/1 mean? Or backwards. Sorry, 1/781. Whatever. Anyway,
It just boils down. I mean,
That's
those
what you
are
just tell them. Don't worry about
don't
it.
worry about it. Just buy the book, and you'll enjoy it. No, I think it is that they think it's going to help boost their sales and bring in new readers, and it will for a total of maybe a week or two.
Yeah.
And then they'll be right back down where they were. So
I wouldn't say a week or two. Probably it'll boost it up for a month or two.
so you're more optimistic.
I'd agree it's probably a month or two. I mean, you're going to see a boost in sales just because it's
Sure.
number one.
Right.
But, that doesn't even work like it used to.
Well, they've come out now and said that they don't want to call their books their miniseries because people won't buy miniseries because it's an ending. It has an end to it. And I'm just like, but you have a tight story and it's a done in one kind of thing.
Well, I mean, even a series is just a whole bunch of miniseries. So
Well, now lately with Marvel, since they've been
Well,
rebooting
everything's
so
written for a trade now, so
Yeah.
you're right.
it's
Even if you have 100 issues, it's 25 trades, or 20 trades or whatever.
I mean, even from the beginning in comics, I mean, they would tell a
Oh,
storyline.
yes, I
and
understand
another
that.
storyline, so-
Right. But they were saying, the Marvel representative was saying that, nobody wants to go buy just a miniseries. They want to buy an ongoing series and everything.
Well, no, they don't want to buy the miniseries because they're horrible.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I
That's
agree.
what Mike's joke used to always be about Free Comic Day. Why should I pay for the Free Comic Day comics when I have X-Men miniseries that never sell that I could throw out for free?
And he
True,
does.
yeah.
And he does, yes. I have no idea where the beef went. I think the old lady,
Who's asking for beef?
Charles, actually was asking where the beef was.
It's right here.
That's right. That's Image is in. I forgot
Image
about
number
that.
1, the beef.
The beef, see?
It's right here.
It's
Oh, shit.
actually called Tainted Love, but
But it's got the beef on it.
right.
No,
Sure.
it's actually called the beef. It's
It's called Tainted Love, the beef.
Nope, it's
no,
called
it's
the
called
beef.
the beef.
Really?
Yeah,
Right there. So,
and it's Shaky Cane's doing it
so
too.
Charles, we have the beef here at Comic Empire.
That's right.
So there you go.
Actually, it sounds kind of funny. The guy works in a meat packing plant. Kind of falls in love with, I think, the waitress that works at the restaurant next door, and it looks funny.
Well, if that's the waitress on the back cover, I can see why he fell in love with her.
Yeah,
Boy, that's one of our easiest questions.
It was, I know, right?
Here. It's
Yeah.
Comic
Right here on
Empire.
the top shelf at
Mm-hmm.
Comic Empire.
yeah. So we want to go back to the predict the path.
No, let's do the predict the path of Marvel as the last one.
All right, James Davis has been on the show with us a couple times. Has a very good question. All-star creative teams for each of the decade from the 40s.
50,
Forward.
60, 70.
Well, yes, from the decade, starting at the 40s, forward, and why, and then of those teams, who wins?
The creative teams.
Creative teams, not the characters. So
Not
you
the
can't say Batman.
So, for the 40s, Siegel and Schuster.
Yeah, or even
Simon and Kirby.
right?
I'd have to go with Siegel and Schuster because they are the ones that started the game.
I would probably go Simon and Kirby because of just the output of stuff they did, and the art.
I would go with Siegel and Schuster because kind of without them and Superman, would we really still have comics like we have today?
I think we would. It just they would be.
Would we?
I think we would. Yeah.
Do you think so?
Because they didn't do start. I mean, comics didn't start with with Action Comics #1.
No, it did not.
No,
They
it
do-
started with Detective 27.
Okay, Terry Jr. Because I mean,
Speaking
original.
of, what about Bob Kane and Bill Finger?
Yeah.
Was Bob Kane really involved? Or
Well, he wrote his
have,
name on it.
have you seen that documentary about Bill Finger? Very interesting documentary.
No, I need to
I'm
see
sure
it.
it could be skewed, however, but the way it made it look is Bob Kane was just basically the salesman for the most
Yeah.
part.
So he was the Stan Lee
Well,
to,
and he was-
yeah.
Finger.
having other people, do the work, and he took the credit.
So he was just DC's version of Stan Lee.
yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much, kind of.
Okay. Which I believe. I mean, that actually. I mean,
It doesn't mean that he didn't have I mean, he apparently did. He had a strong part within the history of
Well,
the Batman comic. He got it going. I mean,
true.
he got them to publish it. So
Well, I mean, originally the
Just
comics
did he
were
do all
just,
the work?
were
Probably
just
not.
newspaper reprints between two cardboard things,
He
right?
did
So
the other
yeah,
stuff, and
but
so that would, you're saying, was it 40s, 50s, I guess. So
yeah, so 50s and 60s.
50s. Who would it be in the 50s?
God, I hate to say this, but Stan Lee and not
well,
Kirby.
creative team
but
doesn't have to be just two people. It can be more than two people.
I
mean,
know
the-
that, but you usually don't. Do you
The
remember who the
50s, well, the
inkers?
50s belonged to EC Comics.
Yeah, right.
So-
So, I mean, Gaines and because Gaines did most of the writing on those, didn't he?
I don't know.
I don't know if he did most of the writing.
I never paid attention to who the writer was.
I never did
on
either.
EC.
I was
always
looking
looked
at the artists. Yeah.
They are, yeah.
So whoever wrote the ECs and whoever then the artists at the time.
Yeah.
for the 50s.
I mean, so many good artists from the 50s, especially at EC.
Yeah.
Feldstein, Woods, Williamson. Whoever
Frazetta.
wrote Frazetta.
Yeah.
Whoever
Yeah.
wrote the stories for Al Feldstein
There
and
you
Al
go.
Feldstein.
Yeah. So about 50s and 60s though.
Well, the 60s is a different thing.
Yeah.
Okay, well 50s. Okay, yeah.
You could say maybe Julie Schwartz.
Schwartz probably. Alexa Stanley writing
Infantino.
the old romance comics. Yeah, Infantino.
I still think you have to just say who the creative teams at EC.
Yeah, because they were still doing the 50s, weren't they?
Well, they basically
Yeah.
own the 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's why
yeah.
the whole seduction of the innocent
Yeah.
happened, was because of how powerful they were in the 50s.
Yeah. Well, in the 60s, yeah, it's going to have to be. It'll be Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Because I really can't think of any DC big.
Well, towards the end, you had Dixon and Adams. Or not Dixon, Denny O'Neil
O'Neill, yeah.
and Neil Adams.
Yeah.
Putting out good stuff.
Yeah. Well, you had Lee and Ditko, Lee and Kirby.
Archie Goodwin and Jose Gonzalez.
Yeah. Yeah, what did they do? No. Don't hit me, I know. They did Vampirella.
But yeah, no one had a bigger impact on comics than Stan Lee and Jack Kirby
Right.
as a creative team. I mean, this doesn't even come close.
Yeah. I mean, you could mention other creative teams in the decades, but it's still going to come down to the biggest is going to be Jack Kirby and Stan Lee. So.
Even Lee and Ditko doesn't match Lee and Kirby.
No, and even Simon and Kirby doesn't match
Yeah.
Stan and Jack. So
No, I mean, you can't even. They still can't get out of their shadow today. I mean,
no.
it's predominant. Everything that they did back then is still
Mm-hmm.
dominant today.
Even DC, I mentioned earlier when I was up here that Sideways,
Mm-hmm.
but that the villain in the first issue is purely a Kirby-inspired villain.
Yeah.
Or not villain, he's the time whatever. But yeah. Were you researching?
Nothing right now.
Are you watching the camera to see if the bad guys come back?
I am.
Okay. The villains.
In the 70s.
70s, that's right. I just blanked. Englehart and Rogers on Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Barry Windsor Smith and
Roy Thomas.
Roy Thomas on Conan.
Claremont and Byrne, didn't that start in the late 70s?
I believe so.
Or are we going to say them for the 80s?
Probably more.
Because it
80s.
really
More
got
80s,
it
yeah.
really got good in the 80s.
yeah.
And Austin. Claremont.
Now we
Byrne
can
and
remember.
Austin.
Now we can remember the inkers on that one. Couldn't tell you the inkers on some of the other ones.
So
What are you silent? I mean,
You guys are mentioning them all, so you're doing great.
all right. Yeah, 80s.
Claremont and Byrne and Austin. The real genius behind John Byrne's art is Terry Austin.
Well, and I'm going to go Byrne solo. Byrne, Austin for his Fantastic Fours. I think Austin inked them.
I think Terry Austin inked John Byrne the whole time he was
I think
at
so.
Marvel, didn't he?
I think so. Excuse me.
There's another creative team from the 80s that had a big impact.
Can you think of it, Mr. Silent over here? This is a talking show. It's
Eastman and Laird.
yeah, I know. That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking. I was waiting to see if he was going to come up with it.
No,
You can't do pantomimes and mime things.
I can try.
Because Eastman and Laird really made independent comics a thing,
Yep.
or helped make them a thing.
I've gone back and read I've read the early Turtles in the colored format that they've done, but because I had never read them, and man, they were awesome. Why did pick them up back in the days? But who knows?
And another one that most people won't think about is Frank Miller and Klaus Janson.
For Daredevil,
Even though Miller's the writer and the artist,
right?
Klaus Janson's inks, I'm sure, helped out
Oh yeah,
a lot.
I think it gave the mood really well. So, Wonder
And
Woman, George Perez.
Perez and Wolfman.
Well, and
Or-
even Perez by himself too on Wonder Woman.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, Wolfman and Perez on Teen Titans was a good.
Giffen and DeMatteis on Justice League.
And then McGuire joined them. Yeah. That was a fun series though.
Baron and Rude.
Mm-hmm.
I think from the 80s, though, you got to go Claremont and Byrne and
Yeah.
Terry Austin.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not good at thinking up these teams from these decades.
Okay, so let's
Why
jump to the
not?
'90s. Do you have a '90s team?
Not really.
Damn it, Dal. I mean,
Dal,
Terry.
wait a minute. Whoa.
We promised Gary Malsby
Yeah, that's
that there
true,
would
that's
always
true.
be a
Damn
Damn
it,
it, Dal.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna change that to "Damn it, Terry" now.
No, it
'90s.
just doesn't roll off the tongue right.
That's true. It doesn't.
The 90s.
Mignola rolled out in the 90s with Hellboy.
He's his own creative
His
His
team.
own
creative
creative
team.
team.
Yeah. Was it
Pretty
90s?
much, he
Yeah.
is.
I guess it was '90s, wasn't it?
Man, it's hard to think. I mean, that was so dedicated to art
Yeah.
in the 90s that
Christina Z and
David Wall.
David Wall and Michael Turner for Witchblade.
Busick and Cell.
Loeb
Loeb and Cell.
and Cell. But-
Busick and
Perez on Avengers.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, even Busick and Brent Anderson on Astro City was good too.
With the Alex Ross covers and
Yep.
Mark Waid and Alex Ross.
Right. Mark Waid and Roberto Ramos for Flash, and then they went on to do Impulse a little bit, but they worked real well together. I would say Straczynski and John Romita Jr., but there was a lot of friction in that group on Amazing Spider-Man. But I think it was more editorial, though,
Yeah.
changing Straczynski's stuff and things.
And Warren Ellis and Frank Quitely.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Or quite frankly.
Yeah, man, I can't remember what his real name is.
I know, I've seen it several times. I don't
Yeah.
know where it is either. Well, and Mark Millar.
And
Well,
creative teams. It's not writers.
Right.
It's artists.
Him and Brian Hitch for Authority also. And Ultimates too you could do, but yeah. Terry is off sulking around the Legion of Doom headquarters. We haven't seen him in a while.
You're doing fine.
Well, thank you. He's back. Thanks.
Yeah.
He was digging through dollar boxes.
The Legion of Doom has a lot of them.
They keep him from Solomon Grundy. If he comes back, he was born on a Monday, and he's going to hurt you about a Tuesday.
So, are we moving on
I
to
think
the
we,
2000s now?
I guess we might as well, yeah.
Okay. Brubaker and Phillips.
Brubaker and who was the one that did the art though for the Captain America?
Epting and Perkins.
See them. See them, yeah.
Those guys.
Those guys.
So, Brubaker and some artists.
Yeah, Brubaker and some artists.
So I say Brubaker and Phillips because I just think they make a better team.
They do.
Now, that doesn't mean that Steve Epting's art isn't good on Captain America or on
Right,
or, you
right.
know, more recently Velvet, because it does. It fits the mood of whatever Brubaker's writing, but Phillips and Brubaker just seem to have a magic.
Yeah. That they do.
And they still do. Yeah.
Eduardo and
Azarello and Riso.
Azarello and Risa. Thank you. I couldn't think of the guy's last name.
When did the Luna Brothers come out?
2000.
2000s.
That's. I can remember. I know them. I remember them. It's a creative team. Because it's got
Everybody
brothers.
rejoiced. Terry came up with a creative team all on his own. And it was mentioned earlier, Kirkman and Adler for Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
It was in the 2000s.
Yes.
Jim Lee and Jeff Loeb on one of the best Batman stories, Hush.
True.
And Jeff Loeb and Tim Sell on those
All the Batman.
all the holiday specials they did. So
And the Long Halloween.
And the,
and
Long
Dark
Halloween,
Victory.
yep.
And Catwoman winning Rome.
Yep.
And then
the Marvel
Did it
series
at Marvel,
right, with
yeah.
Daredevil yellow, Spider-Man blue, Hulk gray.
Yep.
Did Captain America white ever come out?
yeah, they finally finished
Did
it.
they say?
And it was too bad that it took so long because it was the weakest of all of them.
Was it?
Yeah. I was still waiting for them to do X-Men Gold, and it never happened.
They could do Wolverine red. Well, I guess it's Spider-Man. Well, no, yeah, they could do Wolverine red and just be all bloody all the time. You laugh, but it works. Okay, so.
And the current decade.
Well, that's right. We're in the new decade too, aren't we? I'm going to say Vaughn and Staples on Saga.
Gillen and McKelvey.
Yeah. And I'm sure we got to mention it, but King and Jones.
I just want to state for the record that I wasn't the one that brought her up this time.
No, but I know one of our listeners is probably saying, say King. Yes, King and Jones. And actually King and whoever the artist is usually pretty good. But yeah, I'll say King and Jones.
Whoever Brian Vaughn is working with, like Why Last Man,
Mm-hmm.
as well.
Cliff Chang.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ryan Vaughn and Cliff Chang.
We're getting ready to do something else. They're putting out a series of a series through Image. That's him and Marcos Martin, though. Sorry, are doing a series together. So.
But then you're going back to just, it's basically Brian Vaughn.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But creative teams, there's not a lot right now.
Mm-mm.
I don't know if I can think
I
of it.
mean, the writers come and go,
The
the
writers
artists
come and
come and
go, the
go,
artists come and go.
and it's just
Jimmy Palmiotti, Justin Gray, and Amanda Connor.
Yep.
Well,
That's
whatever happened
probably,
to Justin Gray?
I don't know.
Because he's I mean, it used to be those
Maybe.
three together, and then for the last few years, it's just been Palmiotti and Connor. I don't know what's happening.
Well, even then, it's Palmiotti and Connor.
Yeah.
So I usually don't. I usually follow the writers. I don't usually follow the artists. So I don't really pay attention to them being as a team for the most part.
Yeah. But you used to be able to see a team together on a book and go, "That's probably going to be good."
Right. You used to be able to. But now for me, it's just now I follow like I look if Cullen Bunn's doing something or Brian Vaughn's doing something. I'll look at those, check those out. And
See, Bunn is very hit and miss. I mean, I've read some stuff that's really good, and I've read stuff that's just horrible.
most of the stuff I've read has been pretty good. So
I'm just saying that he's hit and miss. I'm not saying he's horrible all the time.
I'd like to see Dowderman, however you say his name, and Aaron do something else besides Hulk, or besides Thor. I'd like to see the two of them do another book together.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, another one would be Wade and Samney.
Yeah. And Finch, Meredith Finch, and the artist on Rose.
Iguara.
Iguara, yes. That's just a beautiful book to see.
He is doing a cover for her Xena series that she's writing.
Awesome.
I guess top ones would more recent be Snyder and Capullo.
Capullo.
Yeah.
Or Capullo.
Or Capullo. Capullo.
The Call of Capullo.
Yeah.
So, of all of them, who
Kirby.
would win?
Kirby and Simon. I mean,
Kirby.
Kirby and
Lee
Lee.
and Kirby. Yeah.
Yep.
It seems like in the 60s, anything those two put out was gold. So,
Yeah.
And all the characters and atmosphere and worlds and stuff they created, they really haven't added anything to that.
yeah. You're right.
And it kind of goes for DC. Everything that was created back then haven't really added too much to it. As a whole, that world is still filled with what they created back then. So
That's true.
Who you texting, Dal?
I was finding out when we're telling the superheroes.
crush his phone. He's giving the location out.
I was sending to the Justice League where the Legion of Doom's hideout was. So we're back to the plotting the course for the Marvel.
For Marvel to be successful again?
Yes.
Unfortunately, it's going to require people losing their jobs.
I think it's going to require that, and probably returning to a trimmer. I don't want to a trimmer line. Trim down the line. I think it's a good start.
He was wanting big Earth creatures
Yeah,
to attack.
No,
I was thinking of the movie Trimmers.
Trimmer, not trimmer.
More trim.
Cut a more trim production line, and they've seen it. We've seen it with Avengers.
Yeah.
They've got all the teams. They've got a big story. Do that with the X-Men. One book, big story. Put it out weekly. It's if it's a good story, and you got good art, people will buy it.
The problem with weekly books, though, is you won't have good art, or even if you do have good art, it won't be the same every issue.
Well, that's fine. Because with like Avengers, there's like a couple of the artists
remember
that are
they
good.
did that with Amazing Spider-Man, and it wasn't that good.
Right. But what's making the Avengers successful right now is that it's a good story. The art is consistent every issue. They may have an artist work on you work on these 4 issues, you work on these 4, and they're going to have, like I said, a more trim line of the publishing thing, and
I agree.
and a good art and good story.
I agree they need to put out fewer books.
Yes.
So that they can concentrate on the ones they do have and make them good.
The ones that have been their success in the past and have been, successful all the way through, and concentrate especially on the writing, but also concentrate on giving them more time to do good art.
Right.
So you're going to have to get good writers, good artists, and if they're writing a story, you tell them to write this story, and they start writing it, and it sucks, have a backup. Somebody else is writing another story. So this one's sucking. This is not working. let's go to this story.
Go back to one book a month.
You did want it coming out once a week. Now you're
Well,
going
no,
to
I'm saying, well,
one
no,
book
I
a
mean,
month?
if like on like Avengers,
Damn
like
it,
that.
Dow.
Damn it, well, I mean, if you can't do the weekly, as like Avengers or X book, we do not need 2 issues of Spider-Man every month. For one, that rushes the creative teams, like you're saying. If it's an event book or and I know I'm probably beating the Avengers into a dead horse. I know, I'm sorry, but that's what's been working right now for them, and it's been a good story. If you do that with the X books, that's fine. But like, you don't need, like I said, 2 issues of Spider-Man to come out every month. Do 1 issue of Spider-Man. Do 1 issue of Wolverine. Do 1 Thor. Do 1 Captain America. By God, do 1 damn Fantastic Four book for the fans that have been wanting it.
Or
not
not.
me particularly, but
I'm going to go back to the writing, but I wanted to go back to be a little bit more specific. A lot of the stories they're writing now are just not compelling. You're going to have to make those stories compelling.
And you yourself have given me crap and laughed at me because I tell you, hey, have you ever read this? I have read this book. Would you read the next one? No, because I just didn't get the hook to go that made me want to read the next issue. And you laughed at me about that.
I have, and I
And you
agree
have,
still.
and
I think you need to give
Because
the
we
book-
know what you do read.
But well, I mean, I'll try a book out. If it hasn't really hooked me in the first issue.
I didn't say a hook. I said a compelling story.
Well, no, but you have
Sometimes
to have something that makes you
You're
want to
probably
read
right. For
the
most,
next issue.
most readers, you're probably going to have that first issue to have not just a hook, but a compelling hook to continue on.
That's like I mentioned Sideways earlier. I read the first issue. There was enough of a hook for me to want to read the next issue.
Was it compelling too?
It was actually somewhat compelling, yes, but I don't really care about compelling. I want to be hooked into the book.
You want a hook.
I want to be hooked into the book. I want to be drawn into is a better word. Drawn into it and enjoy the story. And if I read a first issue and I don't feel that connection, I'm not going to waste my money on the next issue.
I'm a little bit more forgiving. I give them, a run. About.
Well, if I'm spending $3.99 a book,
That's true. I mean, I
I
agree.
want
I'm
to.
gonna
I
start
want
cutting
that
back
instant. I want
with
that connection. I don't want to spend $30 reading an arc and then say, "Well, this is a bunch of crap."
And since things are written for an
Yeah.
arc, 6
Yeah.
issues. If the first 2 issues are not any good, then I guess.
Right, I mean,
I got your point. Definitely. I agree.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
The first thing that needs to happen is Ike Perlmutter needs to go.
Yes.
It's obvious he doesn't give a damn about the company because
Go-
he's never there.
Go join Trump's council, please.
He's already on Trump's council.
Go.
It doesn't matter what he does with his money, though.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is he doesn't give a damn about Marvel.
He doesn't. No.
So he needs to go.
And
And I'm sorry, but I haven't seen anything out of Marvel since C.B. Cebulski's taken over for him to have my support.
I think we will.
So I don't.
but
Look at the garbage that they're soliciting.
he just
You
came
look
out.
at that Exiles book. That looks awful.
But that was under the old.
Then why is it coming out?
I agree.
He's
I
the
know,
boss now.
I know. I'm hoping that'll change.
I don't think it will. And honestly, I think they need to hire Jamie Rich as their editor-in-chief. Everywhere Jamie Rich has been, his books have been successful as an editor.
I actually, I've heard the name. I'm trying to think of the books he's done.
He's doing Batman books right
okay.
now.
Okay.
The editors, all of them, need to go. That's where all of the political crap is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
They were hired because of diversity and not because of merit. None of them had hardly any experience when they were hired, and they got hired at a major company to be editors. It's ridiculous.
I'm going to put my application in or resume in as being an editor. My experience is I have 30 some odd years worth of reading comics. I think I'm.
Yeah, but we've seen what you've read. Marvel's sunk now.
And they need to let go of the politics.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Let
can put a message in a story, but don't make the message the story.
It used to be that the ultimatum, the group ultimatum, the Wild Dogs, obviously Hydra, we know what they're an allegory for. you know, those were your villains.
Yep.
Those, they had a message. They, you know, we don't need to have ISIS in the book. We don't need to have the United Federation of Kookablooka, you know.
Yeah, Kookablooga.
Kookablooga.
They're
Lucas,
some real
horrible.
bastards, aren't
Yeah,
they?
they are,
You
man.
really need to get back to the human element.
Yes,
Within
and
the
let-
characters.
And I don't have a problem with people putting ISIS as the villains.
Right.
I mean, in the world right
They
now,
are,
they
right.
are the villains.
Right.
But a lot of people read their books, the comics, to escape some of this. And
Right.
let the heroes be heroes.
Right.
I mean, that's just, it's, you know.
But Stanley always put some kind of political message in the book,
Mhm.
but he didn't make it the whole story.
No, he didn't. I mean, how many times have you seen Peter Parker and Spider-Man are amazing go when he was in college or high school and there's a demonstration going on? It was shown and then moved on. Or it was mentioned, hey, you know, they're demonstrating
or
this.
even-
you know?
Or even with the X-Men. I mean, that
Yeah, we all know what the X-Men were.
that was, yeah.
I mean,
It was the equal rights movement, you know,
yeah.
so. But it was an entertaining book. That was it. The stuff they're putting out now isn't entertaining. And the art isn't good enough to make it worth
No.
buying. And the dialogue, oh my God, who talks like that?
you don't talk in thee and thou?
Well,
No,
I'm
no,
not talking about.
I know, I'm kidding. I know what you mean. I know,
Do
I'm
you?
sorry. Yes, I do. Do you?
I don't think he's talking about thee and thou.
Okay, I know he's not. I know.
So I know. I would like to know more about what dialogue you're talking about.
Go pick up a Marvel book and read it and tell me who talks like that. Any of them. Go pick up Hawkeye, the most recent issues of Hawkeye, and read the dialogue, and it's like, what? Who talks like this? And another thing, in comics in general, there's nothing wrong with a man being a man and a woman being a woman. Okay?
Oh dear Lord, Dow's
There's
gonna
nothing
speak.
wrong. Also, well, I just want.
Well, there's nothing wrong with them being gay or transsexual
Right, okay,
or
all right,
anything
right.
like
There's
that.
nothing wrong with that
But
either.
there's nothing wrong with drawing a man to look like a man.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with drawing a woman to look like a woman.
Exactly.
They don't have to look androgynous.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, I expect Steve Rogers to have muscles. Okay?
Just not as muscular as Rob Liefeld drew him,
I'm even okay with Rob Liefeld muscles.
and the big chest breast.
Sure. Because you knew that was Steve
You knew
Rogers.
that was Steve Rogers.
Yeah,
Right.
okay?
Right. Okay.
Now you can't tell the difference between Clint Barton and Kate Bishop. They look like the same person.
Sure you're not reading Walking Dead?
I could be. I don't know. It's about
But,
as entertaining.
Yeah.
Or Luna Brothers stuff?
Yeah.
That's
Going back to that Bleeding Cool article, also that the guy
Oh,
wrote.
God,
no.
more Bleeding Cool.
No, it was Rodman. Rodman Comics is the guy that wrote it.
Dennis Rodman?
No,
I think he owns it.
maybe.
I think it is Dennis Rodman's comic shop.
Maybe. It may be. I'll have to double check it. But I don't think it's a Dennis Rodman basketball player.
Because I know Rodman is a fan.
Yeah.
Dennis Rodman is a comic book fan.
Talking about, you know, what's the people that go to the Marvel movies, what's the first thing they see? They don't see Marvel Comics, Marvel Studios.
Okay.
But they don't. But so they're not associating, you know, the Avengers or Black Panther or Thor with the comics. They're associating those with
Well-
Marvel. But without the comics, you wouldn't have the studios. I understand that.
I don't agree with that because the first thing you see is that opening sequence where they're flipping through all the Marvel comics.
Not anymore. They're not showing those anymore. They show the different characters from the movies now.
Oh.
I think
Yeah.
no, I don't. I think Marvel and DC are known for comics. So
Well, I mean,
you know, it's just like Coca-Cola. What is Coca-Cola? What do you think when you hear Coca-Cola?
polar
Chicken
bears.
pot pie.
Polar bears.
You think of Coca-Cola, the soda drink.
Santa
you
Claus.
You hear Marvel, you hear
Polar
DC,
bears.
you think of comic books.
Santa Claus.
Yeah.
At
Big
this
trucks.
point, at this point in time, they're pretty synonymous with what they're known for.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that, but I mean,
Yeah, you're right.
I
Well, I
think in
think
a
another
sense-
another problem is people are wanting, like the companies are wanting the comics to be like the movies.
right.
Make it more like the movies. Why? Let them be comics.
Yeah, I mean, you can't change the wheel. The wheel came first. You can't change the wheel. You can redesign the tires. You can and all everything else to make it go longer. But the comics are the wheel. That's what I'm saying. You can't. I'm getting
Are
too
you saying
looks.
you can't reinvent the wheel? Is that
Yes,
what you're trying to
yes,
say?
yes.
Okay.
Change, reinvent. Yes,
You can improve it.
you can improve it, but you cannot change the.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying, though, is
Yeah.
the companies think that making the comics more like the movies is improving them.
And that's
Yes.
going to bring in that's going to bring in the people that saw the movie to read the comics, and no, it doesn't. Not most of the time.
No, it doesn't.
No, usually when a book gets hot because a movie's coming out is the collectors.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's not new readers.
No.
And sometimes it's not even the collectors. It's people want to flip it to the collectors.
Well, yeah.
That's a whole other subject.
Yeah, it's the flippers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, focus on the comics. You know, like we've all said, better writing, better stories, better art.
Yeah.
A
Getting
Trimmer.
back,
You don't
Trimmer.
need 6 Avengers books.
Nope.
You don't need 6 X-Men books.
no.
get back to the basics.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Until you can establish those books as being good and improve your company, then come out with a second X-Men book. Then come out with a second Avengers book. But don't do 6 right off the bat because now you're
diluting the product.
exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
That's why there's only Coke, Diet Coke, and Coke Zero. Right?
And Coke Zero with lime.
Nope, they don't have Coke Zero with lime
And
anymore.
cherry coke.
Oh, and cherry Coke, yes. But there, for the longest time, was
And
only
cherry
what?
vanilla Coke.
What was there only? Coke.
Coke. Yeah, for the longest time. Yeah.
So
And then there was New Coke.
Yeah, that went over real well, didn't it? That diluted it. Right
that
I didn't think
Dang.
New Coke was all that bad.
it wasn't.
But it wasn't Coke.
No, it wasn't
though.
Coke. But see, there's a perfect example of fixing something that's not broken.
Right.
Well, at the same time, they admitted that New Coke was not,
Right.
and they took it off. They said,
Yeah,
well,
they
it's
saw
not-
their cells and said, "Oh, wait,
Yeah, we're not making this anymore. Well,
they weren't, they weren't sending out, if you buy a 12-pack, we'll send you a 6-pack for free," and then reporting that they sold 18.
Right, and that's another thing. Retailer wise, and I don't understand how they can get away with it, but make the books returnable.
Yeah.
If you are depending on the comic shops to sell your product
and eat the product.
and eat the product too. Yeah, I mean, like you said, the newest Hawkeye. If we have 10 on the shelves upstairs or where we're at the shop,
That's
and we only have 3 people that bought it. Those other 7 should be returnable.
yeah. Or in that same vein, like some book that they came out with Hawkeye, with Kate Bishop or something, it didn't sell well enough.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to cancel it, and then they blamed the retailers for not ordering it. Well, you put the retailers in a bind because it's not returnable.
Right.
They can't eat the cost of all this stuff.
Mm-mm.
You're putting out too many bad books to make the retailers eat the cost, so the retailers are cutting their orders back and ordering close.
Right.
That's happening right now in the music industry. Best Buy is no longer carrying CDs in the store. I don't know if they're carrying it online or not.
And
Target-
Target's getting rid of them.
Target has said, we will carry them if we can return them.
Yeah.
If we can't return them, we're cutting them altogether.
And if you go into Walmart, their section is nothing.
It's
now.
pretty
I mean,
dismal.
yeah.
Well, and we've seen this happen in the toy departments too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, and I know you're probably gonna laugh, but I remember there used to be 2 rows of action figures. You'd have like GI Joes and Transformers on one row, and then you'd go the other row. You had Star Wars and
Marvel and
DC. Now it's on one row and that's it, and they're dwindling the toy departments down.
Man, remember when Star Wars was like half an aisle?
Yeah.
I mean, it was like 40 pegs of Star Wars figures, and now it's down to like 8.
So I mean, and I was at Walmart the other day, trying to find the Avengers stuff, and there were none. None of the new Avengers stuff was out.
You remember when Toys R Us was a place for toys? I mean, just aisles and aisles of toys.
Yeah, and it's half closed now.
Yeah, it's nothing now.
Yep.
The toy industry just isn't what it was now.
And it's because they diluted,
Yep.
diluted the market. Well, that and technology is
Right, I was going to
Right.
say that as well.
Right.
Technology has completely changed. The normal toy customer is moved on to more technology-based things as opposed to toys. So.
And that's another thing. Not everyone likes the damn digital codes
okay.
in the comics. I know Marvel's pushing for the digital. We got to get the digital. You know what? Take out the digital code, drop your book by $1, and I guarantee
Yes.
your sales will
Lower the
improve.
price.
Yes.
The price it's getting
You're gonna-
crazy.
Yeah, and DC's doing the same thing in a way, but they're still keeping their books at $2.99.
They're
Not
twice,
all.
twice
most.
monthly. The bi-month or bi-weekly
Bi-weekly.
books are still $2.99.
Right.
Right.
The monthly books are
Or
$3.99.
$3.99.
But if you technically, though, in a month, you're paying more than...
Right.
But you're getting 2 books.
Right. So.
But they're good books.
Generally, yes. They're
Generally,
much better.
So
That's
you're
right.
more willing to do that
Yeah.
because they're good.
But yeah, $3.99, I mean, that's really getting... I mean,
And not to just bash on Marvel, but now you got companies like IDW following Marvel's example. I'm like, no, follow DC's example.
we were talking about
DC's the ones that's successful right now, and then you have other companies blaming Marvel for the condition of the market right now. And
I think one person that we were talking about getting rid of, the editors and stuff. I can't remember his name, but it's the guy that just recently was let go from Valiant. It's like Dakish Pocketeer. Anyway,
that guy.
Bring him to Marvel. Let him revitalize.
why was he let go from Valiant?
Because Valiant was bought by a Japanese or Chinese holding company.
Was it Deepak something?
Yeah, so it's something like that.
Yeah.
But under his tutelage, though, when he was there, not tutelage, but direction, Valiant relaunched the books. They called the retailers and said, hey, what can we do to make our books...
So basically, quit blaming the retailer and work
Right,
with
and they
them.
worked with them.
Listen
Yes.
to them. The retailers are the ones that know what's going to sell and what's not.
They had a guy that his job was to call every retailer and talk to them and find out what was going on.
I wonder what Mike told him.
Oh, I can tell you what Mike told me. Oh, I got 3 customers that buy your books. That's it. That's all I ordered, those 3 for those guys. That's it. But you know what, though? In other places, Valiant sells.
Yeah.
But bring him on Marvel. Let him have creative control.
Mike said even at the height of Valiant's popularity, he didn't sell that many of them in here. It's just never sold in here.
No.
I think Mike would
It's a
tell
red
him
state.
that, I'm cutting it to the bone.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. How can we make Valiant better, sir? I don't care. I'm cutting it to the bone.
Exactly.
Valiant. We don't want to order Valiant here.
All right, so we've answered the questions. We've solved Marvel's problem, I think, if they would just listen to us.
Yeah. We've
You're right.
solved Charles
Hire me.
Brock's
All right. We've found
answer.
Charles Box.
We found the beef for him.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
We've answered, yeah. So yeah, we are. Can we sneak out of here? We have to. Have they returned yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. So we can probably get out of here.
You better hurry.
Yeah. Do want to know that if you're in the Tulsa area, we're co-sponsoring a Meet the Cosplayer Night with Think Geek at Woodland Hills Mall. That is this Thursday, March the 8th, from 6 to 8. We'll be out there interviewing some of the cosplayers. Probably start doing some Facebook content only. So that'll be, you can find it on our Facebook page.
I don't know. Jessica Jones comes out on the 8th. I might not be here. I might not be there.
That's true. I didn't think about that. So, So yeah, that's
If you have any further questions, let us know. We'll try to answer them during the show.
yeah.
Whether we answer them well or not, I don't know.
At least we
Remains
answered
to be
them though.
seen.
Yeah.
We'll give you some sort of answer.
And I do have to answer one question. It's kind of a personal question. Someone wanted to know where the churros were. I ate the churros. They were good. So anyway, I guess that's all we got. So let's get out of here before they get here.
All right, let's go.
So this is Dalian.
Terry.
Kenny.
We'll see you later.